Helen Yee here with Eyes on the Game, and I'm here in the beautiful home of Jessica Rose Clark, better known as Jessy Jess. Now, congratulations. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Huge win. Probably one of the most notable wins, you know, over Paige Vanzant the past week. How has everything been since you've been back?
Great. I moved house straight away, so I've just been really focusing on that. Yeah. I've gotten a lot of good media coverage from that fight. Like, it still hasn't really registered yet that I won, and you know that I'm here. I think I've been so focused on moving and getting this little girl, you know. So.
Oh my gosh, she is so cute. How old is she? I saw on your Instagram post you just got her last night, right?
Yeah, she's 9 weeks old.
Oh my gosh, what's her name?
Blue. So she's so Aussie cute cattle dog. I've been wanting one for a long time. Yeah.
It makes me want a pet. I've never had one in my life, but this is like the first time I'm like, oh my gosh, melts my heart. But how has, you know, the moving process and everything, because I know it's been a tough like month for you, but you've handled it so well. And to, you know, kind of be back here in Las Vegas and, like you said, have that move, has, you know, have they caught the suspects? How has that whole thing been?
I know they found a bunch of fingerprints, and we have like 3 descriptions of people and vehicles that were at the house. Okay. We heard from the detective yesterday just asking if we'd frequented some places, because I think they believe that maybe they followed me home one day, or maybe they followed my housemate home. Yeah, so but that's all I know so far. Yeah,
but it's good that, you know, it's progressing, moving forward, and I hope they catch those people soon.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, but, you know, speaking of just the past few weeks, and like you said, I mean, now you finally, you know, have gotten the chance to let everything sink in, because I think I saw your post-fight media scrum where you talked about how you didn't really, you know, let or couldn't really think about everything and process it all yet until you kind of got back home to Las Vegas. So, you know, with that win over Paige, it jumps you up 3 spots. You're now ranked number 7. How do you feel about everything?
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I've been having this whole week off training just to kind of, I guess, settle down and refocus, you know. Not that I lost focus, but just to really like give my body and my mind a little bit of a break. But I'm like, last night when I got the rankings through and we were talking about, you know, who I may want to fight next, like I started getting real excited about going back to training. So I'll go back to work at Syndicate tomorrow and then go back to training on Monday. It'll be great.
Now, does that kind of make you look at, you know, the top 6 or top 5, and do you have an opponent in mind now that you know you jumped 3 spots?
There's a bunch of girls that I would like to fight. I feel like I'm going to end up against all of them, you know. My manager and my coach have spoken about 2 in particular. We just got to kind of see what the UFC wants to do now. Could
one of them be Lauren Murphy?
Well, we have the same manager, so I don't think he wants me to fight her until like I have to, you know.
True. Yeah. Or Alexis Davis, maybe.
Maybe. I like fighting veterans. Yeah.
Yeah, and then also, you know, with Paige, and of course I follow your social media, but you've been getting quite some backlash, is it, from her fans? I was kind of scared for you.
Yeah, it's all right. Like, I've never experienced it before, you know, but my whole career people have always said to me, you know, you haven't made it until people start to hate you, and I feel like her crazy fans have come out of the woodwork and they're starting to hate me, you know, but I'm all right with that, because like, I got fans as well who kind of, they like go and fight my battles for them. I just get on there every now and then and antagonize a couple of them, and it's a lot of fun. I don't take any of it to heart.
Yeah, I think, is it called keyboard warriors?
Yeah, that's exactly what they are.
Yeah. So you've handled that very well. I mean, even though, like I said, you posted some intense comments, I was like, oh my gosh, how does she deal with it?
I always try and like name and shame. If people write really bad stuff, or like anything that's overly explicit, I'll always post it, because like people should be held accountable for the stuff they say. I get held accountable for every little thing that I say, so why shouldn't other people?
Exactly. And internet bullying is not a good thing. So I'm telling you, if you write mean things, Jessy Jess may just post it and hold you accountable.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then also, the Paige fight, so many people have been talking about it. And like I said, probably your biggest win to date, and also because of her name and everything. But in that fight, she said that, she may have broke her arm after the first, and you said maybe she's being, a bit over dramatic. Do you kind of still feel that way? And after looking at her posts and about getting surgery?
Well, she definitely broke her arm. Like, I didn't know that she'd actually broken her arm when I did my post-fight media. No, like, I didn't see it or feel it. Like, she did a really good job of covering it. I look back on it and see so many times where I could have taken advantage of it, but I didn't know. So yeah. No, she's obviously not being dramatic. At the time I thought, maybe she just heard it, whatever, stop being a baby, but she very clearly broke it, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's no bad blood between you guys.
We didn't have any bad or good blood between us, full stop. I haven't spoken to her. I've never met her before in my life. I've never spoken to her. I think the 3 words that she said to me in the cage after are the only conversation I've ever had with her. I don't really care about being friends with her,
Yeah, and she didn't really say anything aside from good job.
Yeah. Yep.
Got it. And then also, like I mentioned, the flyweight division, they just crowned the champion not too long ago. Nico, what did you think about her win over Roxanne?
She's very tough and scrappy. I know how tough Roxy is. She's one of my teammates. I was super impressed by Nico. I think a lot of people were she came with barely a record and destroyed all these super high level fighters that I think no one expected that to happen. So she presents a lot of unknown, which is exciting because everyone else who's following after her are kind of veterans in the sport, and they're very set in their ways and very set in their styles, whereas we haven't seen enough of her to really know what she's good at other than fighting good battles, Yeah.
So, there's no doubt that the women's flyweight division, there's going to be just so much going on, and it's a very exciting division. A lot of changes, I'm sure, will be happening. But now that you've relocated here to Las Vegas, you've only been here for 18 months? Yeah. Wow. How has this transition been? What do you think about this city?
I love Vegas. I said, I'm trying to figure out how to get residency so I never have to leave, I love it here. Even if, if I stay in this country, I'll never live anywhere but Vegas. Every time I go away, I come back and I'm like, man, I'm so happy to be home. Just even the desert, when I went back to Sydney for my first fight in November, and I moved here from Sydney and it just didn't feel like home anymore. Vegas, I feel like it's accepted me. I've accepted it, and I never want to leave.
Was it instant? Right when you came here, you knew this is where you wanted to be? Or was it something or someone in particular that kind of changed your views or made you love this place?
So I fought here in 2015, which is when I first met my coach, John Wood. Yeah. And when I left here after that week, I'd been saying, I've got to go back. I want to go back to Vegas. And then my manager lives here as well, and he flew me out here 18 months ago, and I kind of liked it. I decided to stay because of my coach, John Wood. Probably the first 6 months or so, I didn't really like it that much because I got real sick, dealing with the change of environment. I have a lot of allergies, and then going through winter, I got real sick, and so that kind of made me hate the place. I was I'm moving to Thailand. I don't want to live in the dry. It's too cold, But since then, it's probably only the first 6 months that I was unsure. The last year, no, this is home.
Yeah. And the summers, right? Yeah. It's nice and hot here.
I love it. And I love that even when it's cold, it's still really sunny outside. That's my favorite thing. Yeah.
We probably have winter for about a week, or it's a random day. You walk outside, it's windy, it's freezing for an hour, and then it's hot again.
And then it's sunny again. It's the best.
But what's your favorite part? Aside from this being the fight capital of the world, what's your favorite thing or part about Vegas?
There's so much. I love going to Fremont. I love all my gyms. The people I've met here are amazing. I love going hiking in Red Rock. This is the first time in 11 years where I've been able to afford to have my own place and not have to have housemates or anything like that. So it's just everything's really come together here, and I love all of it. Like, I even love the food. Like, I've met, cool people here. I love Vegas.
Yeah, and can you talk about your experience at Syndicate and with Coach John Wood?
John's amazing. Like,
Instant click?
Yeah, straight away. And then I think it was like day 4 here, and I was supposed to go move to Florida, and then on my 4th day I was like, nah, like I'm staying. I want to stay with John. He just figured me out straight away, and like we've gone through this last 18 months, and like we're really close. I consider him one of my best friends, and he's just worked me out in ways that no one else ever has, you know, worked out my personality, figured out how I learn, figured out what I respond to, and he lets me be me. He lets me be creative with my fight style. Like, he doesn't force me to change anything. He just helps me get better at what I'm good at. So, yeah.
And, I mean, that's, you know, most important, and it's very crucial, you know, to have a good connection with your coach, like you said. But you know, something else you posted on social media, you said you were a bit, quote unquote, like pissed off, you know, with your performance, that you wanted to show the fans a bit more, even though, I mean, you made your debut in November, so it was only your 2nd fight. But what did you want to do differently?
There were a lot of things that I was working on. Like, I had this pretty clear vision of how I thought that fight could go, and watching it back now, like, I still believe that I could make the fight go the way I wanted it to, you know, but I just, like, I didn't realize how mentally and physically drained I was from all the stuff that I was dealing with the week leading up to it, you know, and it didn't even click with me until I got in there and started moving, and I was like, man, like, I don't feel good, you know, physically I just didn't feel good. That's the worst I've ever felt in a fight, and felt, like my reactions were slow. I felt slow and heavy. Like, I just, so I, like, even though I won and I've convincingly won, like, I feel like I could have done more. And, you know, I've never been the kind of just lay on someone and grapple with them. Like, I like to strike, but I just didn't feel like I was capable of moving the way I can move usually, you know, so
all the stress. Subconsciously it gets you.
Yeah, that's right. And it did. And it really got to me, and so that's what I'm disappointed about, but I'm looking forward to the next one because hopefully, touch wood, much better circumstances. Yeah.
And when do you think that fight would happen, or when would you like that fight to happen?
Hopefully within the next 4 months. So I want to take about a month off to, not off, but just let my body reset and get settled and stuff like that. And you know, I've got some physical goals that I want to hit within my training that I'd like to really focus on without having to focus on a fight. And then hopefully, hopefully I get a call in the next month and they go, hey, we've got something for you. You've got 6 weeks. We've got 8 weeks. 6 weeks would be nice. You know? Yeah.
And how many times would you like to fight this year?
Oh, as many as they'll put me on. Yeah. Like, I've fought 6 times in the last 18 months. So that's every 3 months or so. So I like to stay more active. I always like to keep going. Like, I train all the time anyway, you know. I've forced myself to take these last 4 or 5 days off, and it's like I'm getting a little stir crazy. I'm like, but I just stay away from the gym because I know if I go to the gym, I'll train. But like, because I train all the time, I feel like I'm always ready and capable, and I don't really care about who it's against, you know, as long as I get to fight, that's it.
Yeah, and with the UFC traveling and, you know, holding shows at so many locations, is there a particular place you would love to fight at?
Any international card, but I don't know what my chances of getting on the international cards are because, like, the flyweight divisions are all new, so I feel like they're going to keep it in America. Like, I would like to go to Europe, but in America, I'd like to fight on the East Coast because I haven't been over there yet. Like, I went to Florida once for 2 days. I'd love to go to, like, Brooklyn or New York or something like that. Would be really cool. Yeah, I can deal with it, you know, if it means I get to go over there, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. I'd also like to fight in Vegas. It'd be cool to fight at home.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And then also you mentioned Florida again, and also how when you first came here, you were initially supposed to go there. Yeah. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
So I was going to go train out American Top Team. Okay. I'd been talking to them about it, you know, since just before I got out to Vegas, and I ended up going to Florida to fight last year and was super grateful that I didn't move out there. Like, not because of the gym. Like, the gym's an amazing gym, ATT out there. It reminded me too much of home, and I'm like, I don't want to live in the tropics again, you know. I like the dry. I've finally acclimated. I don't want to leave now.
Good. And so did you come to America kind of with that plan of, okay, you know, let me check out Las Vegas, check out Florida? Were there any other places in mind?
San Diego and Sacramento as well were kind of like my 4 locations. So I went to San Diego. I've like gone and trained at the gym that I was planning on going to in San Diego, and it's really cool, and it's like a good place to get away from here for a little bit and go out there and train and hang out with the girls. But yeah, I'm grateful I stayed in Vegas. I feel like I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for John. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. And then also, can you talk a bit about your experience? Like I said, you've only been in the UFC for 2 fights now, but I mean, you fought what you just mentioned 6 times, you know, in the past year. Like, how has everything been? I mean, I'm sure it's been very fast paced. So have you had the time to kind of sit back and reflect on it?
Not really. Not really. That was the biggest reason why I decided to take this week off, you know, because like I went from getting that call up and debuting on 10 days notice to fighting again 8 weeks later, you know, and like I traveled halfway across the world in that time. And when I got back, I had to go straight back into camp. And so like I haven't, like I was sitting there talking to John and my manager the other night when we were still in St. Louis, and my manager Danny, he's like, I don't think it's hit you yet. And I'm like, no, it hasn't, because like I wasn't really like happy about the win, or like I wasn't really happy about what I'd done, and you know, and he's like, no, give yourself some time, go home, like it'll hit you soon, and you'll be like, oh my god, like it's finally here. I feel like buying her yesterday was a big part of it, because I'm like, I'd said, you know, I've been wanting a dog for so long, and I'm like, I'm not going to get a dog until I have my own place, and they did that, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I feel like I'd just be petting her if it weren't for the interview. That's how cute she is. But yeah, you should be super proud of yourself. You know, you've come such a long way, and you just started MMA when you were, what, 23 years old? Yeah.
I think I was 25 when I had my first fight. So
wow.
5 years ago, yeah.
So was this, you know, everything you could imagine? Was this kind of part of your plan, or did it exceed expectations? Like,
it feels like it's happened exactly how it was supposed to happen. You know what I mean? Like, obviously every fighter's goal is to get into the UFC, but it's just how my debut happened, how my second fight happened. It just feels like, you know, everything was perfect. Aside from like the week leading up to this one, that was the only... But you overcame that. Yeah, that was the only negative, you know, but like the actual path and the journey that we're on just feels like it's meant to be this way. So I'm trying not to read too much into it. I'm just enjoying it as we go, yeah.
Yeah, and enjoying Blue. And lastly, I mean, is there anything, you know, you'd like to tell your fans, or where they can follow you on social media?
Yeah, Miss Jessy Jess on everything. I appreciate everyone who watches me, everyone who messages me, everyone who watches my story on Instagram. I appreciate all of it. So I love you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time and inviting me over to your beautiful home. Congratulations on all your success so far, and Blue. And I will talk to you soon.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.